This is the piece of track between Coal Creek and south to 392nd. I've done single pictures, and now I'm going to do a video, and you'll see as I go along the marked off every 100 feet, so we have some reference to where things are. And so here's a good round right now, and we are currently at 1800. You can see the stick. So I'm just going to start walking along so you can see what it looks like. And it's pretty flat here. Looked like there was a road back there. There is a trail that goes off to the west that ends up where the pipeline is. We've been down that little trail before. And then here we are. We're kind of in a little bit of a cut. And we've made it to marker 1700. And as you can see, it kind of looks like it was cut through. Don't know if that was recent or not, but that's how the land looks. Now we're gonna move on up here. As you can see, we're still in that little cut. And now we're gonna come out where it's kind of, the railroad track is a little bit raised, but not too much. And there's some sort of dip here. And I probably walked past one of the markers, but that's okay. We'll just keep going, because this is more of an overall feel. Yep, here's 1500. And as you can see, this is where that forest is. I think we approached this from the other side. There's a gully over in there. And then here we have a road that goes off into the clear cut, and it has fencing, and then I walked back in there, and there's like this red tape that shows the end of the someone's property line, but it goes around and then back off that way towards Fell Hill, kind of back towards the old gravel pit. All right, now along here, it's still fairly flat now on the west side. And this is a little cutout here. And now we're going to approach the first place where there's an embankment on the east side. And there is a enormous anthill right there, which is a good landmark. And as you can see, this is fairly flat in here too. Could have had a road here at one time, who knows? It's not marshy. Here's that first embankment that we were talking about in the picture. This side also has an embankment on it, and this is where the whistle sign, the W sign, was found in the dirt here. And the railroad guys say that's about a quarter-mile from the crossing. And it probably is, because here's my next stake. This is 1,300 feet approximately. So if you can see here, we're having now somewhat elevated railroad. Not too significantly, could match the picture. It's not too bad. And then this is the second embankment that we've talked about, being the backdrop of the picture. This is wide enough for the houses to have been here, because this actually flattens out. There's a little bit of a bank in there. It's hard to tell because it's really overgrown in blackberries. And then here's the embankment. And I just walked past another marker. And here we come along here. We're starting along to where now the railroad starts to get a little higher, and there's this dip off to the side. Here's the embankment. And here's one of my markers. This is 1100. For some reason I wrote that one backwards. You can see the pipeline is over in the distance exposed, and you can actually see the road from here now. See how this piece on the west side dips off, becomes quite steep again? Well, this side is just sort of moderate, like it's been for the last few hundred feet. So we'll just keep coming along here. And I think we're going to start getting closer to where the gravel pit falls away. As you can see, the land is not too bad over there, but it does dip away from the railroad. And my next marker is up here. You can see the little stake. We'll take a look at that, and then I'll show you the pipeline again. Yep, this is 1,000 feet from 392nd. And as you can see, there's the pipeline and a little traffic over on the road. I think we all walked through here a couple times and decided that was marshland at some point or would flood. As you can see, someone has drove a car along through here, or some sort of vehicle on this side road. So now we'll just kind of keep going along here. Now this side is still fairly close to the railroad height, while this side is certainly got quite a dip to it. And here's my next marker. So this would be 900. And you can see now we're starting to get to where the land falls away on this side into the gravel pit. Man-made or nature-made, who knows. There's the pipeline still and the barns. And now you can see, as I'm walking along, this side on the east side is still relatively close. Somebody did some serious digging here. I have to assume it was my metal detector buddies. You can see the land's still quite steep on this side. Here's marker number 800 feet, which actually marks where the road goes down into the gravel pit. And I have photos, still photos of this area. It goes down and it gets underwater when it gets closer to the road, but this at one time went all the way through to the road to 392nd, and then it also went up into the clear cut that's on the other side of this band of trees. So moving right along, you can see the terrain is still basically the same, pretty steep on the west side and not too bad on the east side. And I think that's another anthill. Now you can really see how the land is falling away into the gravel pit down there. You can actually see the little road. And here's mile marker, 100 marker, it's 700. Now we have an embankment on this side, and the dirt on this side of it's like come back up closer to the railroad height. This side is still basically the same as it's been. I'm not sure, I'd have to look at the map, but I believe the spur was on the west side at one time. This is fairly flat. I am going to walk over here so you can look down into the gravel pit, get a feel for how far down that is. And you can see my car in the distance because we're getting closer to 392nd. And yep, there's a little road down there. So back to the railroad. As you can see here, we kind of have raised on the west side. It's basically the same on the east that it's been. We're approaching the next 100-foot marker, which would be 500. Now this is where it gets really steep on both sides of the track. This side, on the west side, goes down deeper. Quite a path there. And on this side, there's just a narrow ledge before it really falls off a cliff into the gravel pit. So as you can see, there's that metal tubing. Someone threw their old fence post back in there. Here again, I'll show you. You can see down into the gravel pit. You can see how steep this whole side is. This side's fairly steep too. And here's mile marker 400, or 100 marker 400. Now we're getting closer to the road. You can actually see it clearly. You can see the crossing sign and my car. We're up above it all on both sides. You can really see down into the gravel pit now. And that side's starting to come up somewhat, but it never really comes up like it was down below, north of here. There's that shell of a pole at some time that's sitting there. Maybe it was a tree, but I think it was a pole. Looks creosoted. And then you can see that we're still, and I think I just walked past the mile marker there, which would be 300. And we're moving right along. This is 200 right here. You can see there's not a lot to see here. It's just the same old stuff. There's 200. And then getting closer, you can really see down into the gravel pit. That's about as far as I got, I think, if I remember rightly, where it had water over the road. And then here we have the road and the crossing, and you can see it just certainly falls off here into the gravel pit. And while I was videotaping, somebody stopped and threw this out. And to me, it looks like guts. Yep. It's fish. Holy fucking shit. It's all the fish guts. Well, the animals will enjoy that. And then here we are now back at the railroad crossing. So that, my friends, is it for this section of the Veazie search team look.